Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast, episode number 66. Down under, mate. Bow hunting with Zach Shaggy Slattery in Australia. Be forewarned, this show is a little on the edge and may put you in your uncomfortable zone, just so you know. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
Yeah, this is James Powell down in Texas. Just want to give you guys a call and tell you thanks for the great podcast you guys provide. The interview with Larry Weishuhn was just the pinnacle for me. Just listening to you guys, been listening since day one, and just want to say thanks for the information you guys provide for us out here that enjoy listening and learning. Also, you guys featured a 155-inch 11-pointer I shot year before last. Want to say thanks to that. And keep up the great work, man. This is just awesome to have this kind of information at the touch of a button. It's just great. You guys take care and looking forward to more. Thanks again.
Hello, fellow hunters. This is Carrie Zilka from the Wild World of Carrie Z podcast. You know, I don't always listen to other hunting podcasts, but when I do, I listen to the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck podcast. Stay hunting, my friends.
Hey, this is Corby Taylor, host of the Wild Game Hunting Podcast, and you're listening to another great episode of the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope you are going to enjoy the show, because I certainly am, and I think Dusty is too. What do you say, Dusty?
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Yeah, we're branching out. We're going international, Jay.
We're going global. We might have a global international incident on our hands when this is all said and done.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's one of the things that we've been wanting to do,
Yep.
But we couldn't find somebody that was willing to do it.
Absolutely.
And I think that we've hit a grand slam here.
It's fascinating to think of the two worlds. But we live in one world, but we live on opposite sides of the equator. And the things that are occurring and the hunting that's occurring in Australia would make the Antis in the United States just skin fall off. That's how different it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And be prepared for a different show tonight.
Yes.
Today.
This might be a bit controversial, but it's exactly the type of thing that we need to illustrate as hunters in the world of hunting. Not just what we deal with in the United States, but what is normal elsewhere and what could be normal here if we don't keep it under control.
Absolutely. You know, it's all about the control of the population with the critters that we hunt. And, you know, you're going to hear from Australia how bad it can be. What is to come if the hunting's not here and the control's not here?
Right, exactly. It's, you know, and this is the stuff we just don't think about because we've done such a good job hunting in the United States. Some stuff is getting out of control, like the hogs in Texas. And, you know, the pig man, Brian Kwok, is doing the best he can along with Ted Nugent to keep that under control. And I don't want to see the government intervene and poison animals because that didn't work out so good either.
Yeah, that's just not ethical in my eyes.
Exactly. It's not ethical and it's unnecessary. I guess that's where I'm getting. That's the part that really bugs me is that the introducing government intervention into the maintenance of population control, basically, is unnecessary because you have plenty of hunters that are willing to do it for you, yet you choose not to sometimes.
Yeah, I don't agree with the choice of that.
I don't either. But if you want to illustrate what it could be like,
you're going to listen to it.
Listen to this show. This is the show. I'd like to welcome Zach Shaggy Slattery from Adelaide, Australia, onto the show today.
Let's call him up.
Let's get him on. Zach, welcome to the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad. Yourself?
I'm doing quite well. I just want to...
That's good.
It's nice that we can be worlds apart and still talk by Skype to each other.
Yeah.
And still talk hunting.
It is good. It is good.
It's fantastic. Well, I'm glad you could join us. It's I've been following you on your Facebook page, and this is a little bit outside the box for us, and I'd like to learn everything that there is to know about hunting in Australia that as relative to what you know about it.
I'm still learning. I've only been hunting with a bow for about 4 years. Most of my hunting is hunting wild feral goats.
Yep.
Because they're an introduced species and they cause havoc on the environment here.
Gotcha.
We don't have hunting seasons, so we can hunt all year round, luckily.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So Zach, tell me where you are right now.
Adelaide, South Australia.
Adelaide, South Australia, and
Yep.
okay. So we're recording this, and it's another day forward where you are. So it's
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
That is real crazy.
We're a whole day apart. All right.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in Australia? Sounds like it.
Yeah.
All right. So
Born and bred.
How old are you right now?
21.
21. All right. So what was life like growing up in Australia?
Yeah, good. Spent a lot of my childhood travelling with my nan and pop every fortnight, and my grandfather, my pop, he taught me a lot about hunting, and I was lucky enough to experience a lot of it. So I grew up, fishing and hunting around. Used to do 2-week trips, fishing and hunting up to Queensland and New South Wales, but that was all with a rifle.
Okay. That's cool. How old were you when you started hunting?
He used to take me out before I was 5, and then I started shooting about 5 or 6.
No kidding. So 5 or 6 years old, you're shooting the game animals. That's awesome. So, all right. So you're 21. You just got into bow hunting like 4 years ago. You've been hunting since you were 5, so you've got more experience than a lot of people that are just starting out.
Yeah.
And I bump into guys all the time that are 20 that just starting their hunting career or passion. So this is very cool. You've got a head start on a lot of people.
Yeah, I do, luckily. But I'm still learning lots. Deer here in Australia are proving very hard for me to get.
Okay.
We have the rut for fallow deer in early April, and I've been trying to get a fallow stag since then, but still haven't got one down to the ground.
That's interesting. Now the fallow, so that's, I wonder if being on the opposite side of the equator, if the seasons are reversed, and I wonder, does that mean that the rut is about the opposite, so it's about 6 months later kind of thing?
Yeah, because that's our we've just gone into spring, just out of winter and starting spring now. So
gotcha. Isn't that fascinating, Dusty?
That's amazing. We're just now going into fall, getting ready to get into the winter.
Right.
Yeah, so you guys have winter over Christmas, and we have summer. So we normally spend summer with about 35 to 40 degrees.
Fascinating. Such a small world. I love this. The Big Buck Registry right now is going global.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome. All right.
And so a lot of other American hunting pages.
Right. So let's talk about your hunting a little bit. Dusty, you want to break down the terrain and that kind of stuff, kind of like we do with the other guests?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be all different approach, Zach. That something that we really haven't had the opportunity to touch base on, and very interested, and I know our listeners are going to enjoy. So let's start out let's talk a little bit about your terrain. Tell us what you guys hunt. How do you hunt, and what are you hunting in?
We have all sorts of terrain. We've got from desert mountains to snowy mountains to swamp. So it all depends what you're hunting and where you're hunting.
Right, and your main focus is the feral goats, correct?
Yes. Because that's pretty much all I get the opportunity to hunt most weekends.
Is there such thing as a trophy feral goat?
Yep. Some of the goats, their horn spread gets to 50 inches, which is a massive feral goat. My personal best billy is 32-inch spread.
Gotcha. 32-inch spread on a billy goat.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when you guys go ahead, do you ground hunt or do you tree stand hunt?
Yeah, ground hunt. Never had the opportunity to tree stand, so we go in, we listen, track, find the mob, and sometimes it could be a quick hunt and we get a goat within 10 minutes of being there, or sometimes it could be a 6-7 hour hunt and we chase goats the whole time and just sit and wait or stalk. Depends what the goats are doing and what time of day it is.
Right. Are you able to bait the goats?
You possibly could, but we don't. It's just because they move through, because we have a couple of different properties that give us access to hunt on, because the goats eat the farmers' pastures and stuff. So we go through and they'll be feeding, or in a dam on the sunny side of a hill. Some of the peaks that we hunt are probably 300-400 meters high, so lot of hiking. I normally carry a 20 kilo backpack along with a bow.
So where you're hunting at, you got to be in pretty good shape to get where you need to be.
Yeah, but I'm not. It's a struggle every time I go out there.
That's all right. It's a struggle here too. Is there no tree stands there, or just not places where you can put tree stands?
There's places you could possibly put tree stands, but most hunting in Australia is done either ground or spotlighting.
Gotcha.
And spotlighting's usually just rifle for foxes, rabbits, feral cats, feral dogs.
Gotcha.
Luckily, we've got lots of feral animals in Australia to hunt. Sometimes the kangaroo populations get a bit much, and that's the only thing in Australia we do have tags for is kangaroos.
How does that process work? When say you're going out kangaroo hunting.
Yep.
Is that an over-the-counter purchase, or do you have to apply, or how does that work?
If property owners apply to get the tags, and then they'll have shooters, or sometimes you got actual kangaroo shooters who go around shooting kangaroos for meat to import. So they buy so many tags and then go around spotlighting. It's very, very technical to get into it. You're not allowed to shoot any native animals in Australia with a bow, so you can only hunt feral species.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So, this is just fascinating to me, because it sounds like you've got species, like just tremendous amount of species to hunt.
Lots of feral animals.
Lots of feral. So defining a feral animal is an animal that is used to be basically raised in a cage or in a pen, and now it's gone wild, essentially.
On farms, yeah. When the Europeans settled in Australia, they brought goats, camels, everything to help them combat the land and build cities. And a lot of those animals have escaped. So we've got millions and millions of pigs. We've got, I think the last rough estimate for feral pig populations was 26 million feral pigs.
Wow.
But we've got camels, wild horse, donkey, buffalo, wild cow, 6 species of deer, goats.
That's crazy. All right, so let's talk about the goat hunting. How do you approach that? I mean, are they just so populated that you just walk out and you pretty much you're gonna take one home, or is there a strategy? I want to talk strategy here.
Normally my strategy is go first thing in the morning, go to a nice sunny side of the hill, and they'll normally be warming up because it's just been winter over here, so they'll be warming up in the sun and grazing. You normally, like every other hunting, you work out where the wind's going, keep the wind blowing in your face, and sometimes they'll be grazing towards you, sometimes you'll have to do lots of stalking and just sitting and waiting.
Gotcha. So this is interesting. So, I mean, this is a topic we talk about all the time. You're trying to stay downwind of the animal so that the wind's blowing in your face.
Yep.
Same strategy.
It's very hard. It's very hard in the hills too, where I hunt, because you go over the top of like one of the hills, and then the wind switches, and that puts you off a lot. Because you're just constantly onto the wind. Now,
do you do any kind of cover scent? Like, let's say that you aren't downwind. Do you rely on the wind itself, and that's it, nothing else?
I've just started using a scent that one of my friends told me to make. It's eucalyptus oil, tea tree oil, and water, that we put into a spray bottle and mix it up.
Yep.
It's very, very strong, and it's been working very well to help mask our scent.
Okay. Now, how close are you getting?
Sometimes I'll take shots about 50 meters, sometimes 5 meters. So in between 50 and 5 is most of my hunting.
A meter is pretty close to a yard, correct?
I believe so. I'm not too sure there.
Meter stick and a yard stick, I think they're not exact, but they're close. So essentially, you're talking about a 50-yard shot or close to it, thereabouts.
Yeah, I assume so. I'd have to convert it or get the rangefinder out to have a look.
Right. Well, I want it for our listeners just to understand. We usually go by yards, so I wanted to just do the equivalent. I'm going to look that up. Dusty, why don't you keep going with like a gear check? Like what are you wearing when you go hunting?
I wear Ridgeline buffalo camo. It's virtually just a real tree camo. Sometimes Ozcam, which is just our normal camouflage for everything in Australia. Most people use that.
Okay, so it's like a camouflage of sorts.
Yeah, real tree camo.
Gotcha. Okay, so real tree has made it to Australia. That's fascinating.
It's virtually real tree, but it's Ridgeline. It's a New Zealand company.
Oh, okay. So it's just very similar then.
Yeah, very, very similar.
Gotcha.
Huh, interesting. So when you go out, let's talk like conditions. What's the weather like when you're going out for the feral goat hunts?
Some days it is quite windy and overcast. Some days it's really hot. Some weeks we have up to 3-4 weeks at 45 degrees, 50 degrees in the sun. So a lot of the time it's very hot.
And I'm assuming you guys are Celsius, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So trying to calculate Fahrenheit to Celsius. So is that 50 degrees? That'd be almost 90?
Yeah, about 100, I think. Yes,
100, okay,
something
100.
like that.
Right.
So it gets quite hot here.
I'm doing the math over here I'm doing the calculations for between meters and yards. It's about the same. It's about the
Gotcha.
same. So Fahrenheit, and so you're using Celsius. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
All right. So you at 50 degrees Celsius.
So that's like almost like a t-shirt and shorts type of hunt when it's 50.
Yeah, that's t-shirts and singlet or no shirt.
Is there the terrain? Do you have to worry about as far as poison snakes or anything like that? What do you got to worry?
Lots of poisonous snakes.
So you're almost you got to wear a snake boot all the time.
Yeah, I wear hiking boots and sometimes gaiters, which are these things that slide up over your shoes and they protect your ankles and stuff going into your socks.
Okay.
Quite a good thing. A lot of farmers and a lot of hunters wear them in Australia.
All right, so hold on. 50 degrees Celsius, according to my Google translator here, is 122 degrees Fahrenheit.
So yeah, it does get hot here.
Holy smokes.
That's 50 degrees in the sun.
Right.
So it's hot. Under the shade, it would be about 45.
Gotcha. And you're hunting in this temperature?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes. Wow.
But that's good just to sit and wait by a dam for the goats to come in.
Gotcha. For a water source.
Yeah, that's the best hunting in summer here, is you wait by the water source and they come in.
Gotcha. All right, so this is summer hunting we're talking about.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then winter hunting is normally in between 15 and 20 degrees.
Okay, 15 and 20. All right, so 20 degrees Celsius, about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a rough winter.
That's a rough winter, I know. Woo. So I take it you don't get much snow.
Not here in South Australia.
Okay.
Occasionally on the higher peaks, 400 meter plus, you might get some snow, and that might be minus 2-3 degrees up there.
Gotcha. So is it fair to say you live in a country type atmosphere? Is it or is it rural where you are?
I grew up in a rural town.
Okay.
I live just outside of Adelaide, the actual city, so it's fairly populated here. But the town I grew up in was only 200 people.
Okay.
So quite small.
Gotcha. So lots of play area.
Yeah. I grew up fishing the local creeks and chasing rabbits with a recurve, kid recurve I had.
Yep.
So I just pretty much taught from my grandpa, and then the rest of the stuff I taught myself.
Okay. So goat is kind of like a staple for you as far as the hunting species, because there's so many of them. It's plentiful.
Yeah, for me it is. A lot of my mates who are rifle hunters, they get deer every weekend, every second weekend.
Okay.
One of my good mates, he's a rifle hunter. He's only been hunting deer for 8 years, and he's almost shot 1,000 in 8 years.
1,000 goats?
Yeah.
Wow. 1,000. Now, I've noticed that you enjoy eating goat. On your Facebook page. It looks
it is very nice. It's quite like lamb, just a bit sweeter and gamier.
Right. Yeah, I love goat. I don't. We don't get it around here a lot, but when I've gone to Jamaica or out of the country, goat is heavily on the menu. It's delicious, absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it is the most eaten meat in the world.
Is that right? Interesting.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
A lot of Middle Eastern countries and Indian countries are quite big on goat curries and other goat dishes.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Have you ever had mountain oysters?
No, I haven't. I'm well aware what they are, though.
I tried to throw the old trick question slit in there, and it didn't work very well.
I know they're a delicacy on some big stations in up north of Australia.
The old mountain oysters.
Rocky Mountain oysters, got it.
Yeah. What? Let's get a little bit into what your hunting gear is. What kind of bow are you shooting?
My main hunting bow is a PSE Dream Seasons Evo, a 2012 model, I'm pretty sure. Shooting 75-95 gold tip arrows with mostly thunderhead 125 grain tips.
So is that a carbon fiber arrow?
Yeah.
Gotcha. How difficult is it to get? Can you just drive to a local bow shop, or do you have to order things for your bow?
No, we have 3 bow shops in Adelaide that supply like bows, and we can just pretty much just drive there. It is a half-hour drive to get there,
right? Because
they're on the other side of the city. But the shop I mainly go to deals with PSE, so.
Okay,
he's quite good there.
Right on. Yeah, I was just curious to, we got local bow shops pretty regular here in Ohio.
Yeah,
I know Jay does too. That's just a question that popped in my head that I had to ask. What do you do once? Okay, say it's 120 degrees, and you are 60 degrees Celsius. And say that you've shot a goat. What's the process?
I normally just hang them up. So I find the nearest tree. I carry a meat hook and some long rope with me, so I can hang goats up straight away. I gut them normally and leave the skin on, and then skin them when I get home. In the cooler months, I'll hang them outside on my balcony and just hang them overnight because it's quite cool and keeps them well refrigerated. But on a hot day, I'll skin and butcher them the same day.
Gotcha. Do all of it yourself then?
Yeah. So I'll normally out of a mid-size nanny goat or small billy, we normally get about 6 to 7 kilos worth of meat out of it.
Gotcha.
And that's ribs, roasts, mince, and like diced meat for curries.
All right, gotcha. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to ask how many cuts do you get out of that. Good answer. What do you guys do as far as taxidermy? How do you mount the goats, or do you? A
lot of people do. My personal best billy I only shot about 2 months ago, maybe 2.5 months ago, and I've got the skull cap hanging outside now to prepare it for bleaching. Just waiting for the horns to slide off, so I can do a full measurement on it and see how many points it is.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I'll keep you informed on how that goes.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd be curious to see.
Taxidermy is quite expensive over here. For a good shoulder mount, you're looking at about $650 plus.
Wow, that's quite expensive.
Yeah, it is. And then some of the good deer mounts, you're looking at $1,000 plus.
Wow. Is it because of lack of material to do the mounting with, or?
I believe it could be just not as many people, and quite hard to find good taxidermists.
Gotcha. And just to let you know, the American dollar and the Australian dollar are about the same. I think it's like 90 cents on the Australian dollar, thereabouts. And
yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
Yeah, I looked it up today, and so when you're talking about $650, it's a little bit more than $650 for a shoulder mount, which is a lot more than what I'd pay, and I think Dusty more than you'd pay. Correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm in like the $325 range for a shoulder mount.
Gotcha. And
that's crazy.
And that's about what I'm at too. And a kilo, by the way, if you've got 5 kilos, that's about 10 pounds of meat thereabouts.
Yeah.
It's 2.2.
Yeah,
Got it.
everything's back to front.
Right.
Right. Yeah, for sure. That
Or
seems
as
like-
you would say, upside down.
Upside down. It's fascinating. There's so much to compare, yet there's so many little conversions you should be aware of, just to make it all relative to what would it be like if we were there, kind of thing, or in relative terms to what we understand. That's what I'm just trying to do some of these conversions. All right, go ahead, Dusty.
What it seems like a lot of work for that little meat on the goat. What's your opinion on that? Does it seem to?
I enjoy it. I like getting outside, and even if you don't come home with something, it's still fun just to get out there.
Right on. I agree to that. It just seems. Have you ever come back with a couple goats, or is there a daily bag limit?
Oh, wait to hear this story, Dusty. I know where this is going.
We don't have bag limits on feral animals, apart from a couple of species of deer in Victoria. But a couple times in the last 2 months, I've managed to take on two separate occasions 2 goats with one shot.
That's excellent.
That is excellent.
They were standing right by each other and went straight through one into the other. One ran 5 meters and dropped. The other dropped on the spot. And then last weekend, I got a little kid and a nanny with one shot, and the kid dropped straight away. The nanny I had to go off and find in the scrub.
Gotcha. We're talking about goats here, just so everybody understands.
Talking about shooting 2 goats with 1 arrow. By the way, it's not a gun; it's an arrow. So just fascinating. All right,
very interesting.
All right, so
I wish I got it on video.
Do you call that like a Robin Hood there, or what do you say to that?
Special name for that?
I don't know what it's called. I don't know too many people that have done it.
Meat in the freezer?
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it makes twice the work, because when I'm out hunting, I normally walk between 6 and 12 Ks, sometimes up to 20 Ks a day, and carrying it through the hilly country that I go in. Like sometimes we're hunting on cliff edges, sometimes like steep creek sides with like full of blackberry bushes. So it's quite hard hunting.
Yeah, sounds like it. Too bad them blackberries ain't on. That always makes for a good walk.
Yeah, no, it's good when they're on, but the goats beat you to it. They love them.
Gotcha.
Can you tell me, like, let's see here. I may have to get Jay to convert this over. Like in a square mile, how many goats you think there is?
Depends where you're hunting. Where I hunt, there could be up to 100 goats, maybe, in some spots. Sometimes, I know close to the South Australian border and the New South Wales border, a place called Broken Hill, just before you get in there, there could be a couple thousand in a square mile up that way.
Wow.
And just so you know, 1 kilometer is equal to 0.6 miles, or 2 kilometers is 1.2 miles.
Yeah, some places there could be under 50 in that, and then, like I said, other places up in the drier, hotter parts of Australia, there could be up to 1,000, 2,000 plus.
Gotcha. So sometimes you're hiking 30 kilometers, you said, which would be the
20 kilometers.
20 kilometers. It's the equivalent of 12 miles to hunt goat. So if you get out 12 miles, which is not unheard of, but I mean, that's a long hike, and especially a long hike going back in 120 degree heat. That's a long day.
No, I wouldn't do it on 120 degree heat. That's where you would mainly be waiting by water for them to come and drink.
Okay, so
I'm not going goat hunting in Australia, I tell you. You can forget me, Zach. I'm sorry, buddy.
Zach, I'm in. I am in. I'm all about. I love the goat meat, so I'm in, man.
It's worth it. I just can't wait to get onto other game in Australia, and then eventually, hopefully, America.
That would be cool. All right,
that would be sweet.
We've covered the feral goat. All right, so you mentioned, Zach, that all the species in Australia that you can hunt without a tag, and there are no bag limits, are all feral. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
And then they're
all introduced species and cause havoc on the native animals and farming land.
Okay, now what animals are native to Australia?
Kangaroos, emus, up north, crocodiles. You got salt and freshwater crocodiles, lots of poisonous snakes, lots of lizards.
Okay, so basically of those species, you probably would want to hunt a kangaroo, maybe, and that's about it. And that requires a tag, you said.
Yes, it does. And that's only really in farmlands you can hunt them, where they're causing havoc on crops.
Okay, so if they're causing damage to farmers' crops, that's when you can go and get a tag to take one out.
Or unless you're a meat shooter for the international market, but that again, you only allowed to have headshots, and it's only spotlighting. And
gotcha. Lots of rules.
It gets very technical.
Yeah, lots of rules for when you're taking down a indigenous species. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
kangaroo is great eating.
I think I've tried it at a game dinner once, and it was actually quite good. I was amazed.
And emu's not too bad either.
Yeah. It's emu is a bird, right? So it's like an ostrich.
Like an ostrich.
And that was delicious too. Very red, dark meat, not like chicken, or not light meat like you'd find on a grouse or something like that. Okay, so we've covered the goat, we've covered the kangaroo. As far as what other feral species can you take down?
Feral pig.
Feral pig. All right.
Lots of feral pig.
So that'd be like hunting hogs in Texas, Dusty, I would assume.
Yeah, right on.
Okay. That's it.
Some of them get quite big.
Is that a jet? Is that a jet coming in the background?
Yeah, that's a plane flying overhead.
Nice.
No, I'm just outside where it's a bit quieter.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's cool. It's good to hear. It's kind of interesting to hear the background noise, like what's going on in your world over there.
Yeah.
All right, so feral pigs, we can relate to that, Dusty. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense. All right, so this is interesting. You mentioned the donkey. All right, how did we get feral donkeys in Australia?
From early settlers bringing in camels and donkeys just to help them travel from big city to big city and start making smaller communities out bush.
Okay. So basically, they're out in the bush, and when we say the bush, tell us about the bush. Is the bush like just real thick brush that is dried out terrain?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just flat, barren land where you don't see much for miles, and you can just see for miles.
Gotcha.
You'll have seasonal creeks and that running through there, and just depends on where you are, really.
All right. Now, have you actually had an opportunity to hunt donkey yet?
Not yet. I've got a few mates that have, and you mainly get donkeys where you get camels. All
right. This is fascinating because Dusty, are you with me here?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fascinating.
I'm thinking, wow, how do you hunt a jackass?
Yeah. You're hunting donkeys, and there are feral camels too.
Yeah.
So you can hunt camel?
Yep.
Wow. Really?
Apparently, I haven't tried it, but apparently it's really good eating and a good hunt too.
All right. So can you, from the mates that you've gone or heard about the donkey hunt, how do you strategize for a donkey hunt?
A lot of people just wait on a water source and wait for them to come in. A lot of people hunt them out of helicopters and utes, so they'll drive around for kilometers looking for them and then shoot them from afar. But bow hunters just wait by a water source.
Okay, so white water or a water source for bow hunting, but you can hunt donkeys out of helicopters.
Same with camels as well.
Wow, dude, how sweet would that be?
Man, I was blown away when I saw Nugent and the Pigman hunting the feral hogs down in Texas from a helicopter with automatic machine guns.
I seen that footage and seen where they were shooting them with a bow. Oh, one of them was shooting with a bow as well.
Yes, right, exactly. So now you've got a donkey that you could do this similar thing to. I assume there aren't nearly as many donkeys as there are hogs. It doesn't seem like they would reproduce quite as fast.
No, there's still thousands of them out there, and then camels are in the millions too in some parts.
Holy smokes!
They just breed up, and the habitat that they're in is just dry desert, so really suits for them.
Right,
and they breed up quick.
So I would imagine a camel hunt strategy just must be to find places where they're going to go grab some water, kind of thing.
Yeah, one of the hunting DVDs I have, they're sitting on a dam, and probably 200-300 camels come in to drink from the dam.
Wow.
Right on dusk.
Now, how big are these camels getting? I mean, we've seen camels at zoos and stuff like that, but how big are these animals we're talking about?
Oh, about the same size.
No kidding. So what do they run?
So,
1,000 pounds?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Definitely be a few 100 kilos.
Are you like what's is there a trophy camel?
Honestly, I'm not too sure.
Right, I'm just curious.
I'm not too sure how that all works out. I see lots of photos and videos of people hunting camel. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I'm trying to sort out some hunts.
So an adult camel, according to Google, can weigh between 300 and 1,000 kilograms. That's over 2,000 pounds, Dusty.
That's crazy.
That's a big animal.
I know a lot of farmers round them up and send them off to abattoirs, and the meat gets shipped overseas because apparently it's quite a good meat to eat.
Gotcha.
You'd have to call in like a tow truck to get a camel out of the woods.
Seriously, that's a huge animal. It's like hunting
It is.
It's like hunting a moose. A big
like
moose.
you got a radio like
Right.
camel down. You tell them where you're at.
All right.
Airlifted out.
You also mentioned, I think you mentioned the horse too. So you've got wild horses that were feral horses.
In some of the states, yeah, we do. Brumbies, as they're known. Some people round them up and use them for stock horses, or some people round them up and train them and race them. And in some places, you can hunt them.
Gotcha.
So, do they eat the horse meat too?
Yeah, some people do. Apparently, it's quite nice as well.
Really?
The reason I really want to do the show is to show the contrast. I mean, it's just to think that we would hunt donkey or a horse is kind of foreign to everybody in the United States, because it's just not something you practice. However, they're not running ferally wild in the United States either. If they were, I guarantee you we'd be hunting them.
Yeah, exactly.
So mentally, it's going to be hard for people to grasp the show. Really, do you agree, Dusty?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be one of the things where we're not doing it to see what all you can kill out there. We're doing this for to hear what Zach's side of Australia hunting is like.
Right, and when the numbers are basically sustainable in an area, you have to control the population, and in order to control the population, you can hunt them.
Over here, a lot of people, especially with the feral species, they just want to eradicate them all.
Right.
So you have some people that go out and shoot as many as they can just to drop the numbers, because the damage they do to the environment in those areas.
Right. Dusty, does this sound like a similar problem that we're having here in the United States with hogs?
Yeah, absolutely. We got feral hogs running wild. I mean, they're tearing up the crop fields. I mean, they're just devastating the land. And it's pretty much an open season in every state here in the States that you can hunt feral hogs, and they're just devastating.
Yeah, it's the same here, but on a larger scale with all the feral animals we have.
Right, yeah,
so
absolutely.
You can only imagine the issues a lot of farmers are having with the animals here when you've got camels some places, buffalo, wild cow, goats, just lots of different species.
Right. So Dusty and Zach, just take our problem that we have with the wild hogs, courtesy of Brian Quacca and the Pigman, or Brian Quacca, the Pigman, and Ted Nugent, who have decided to do something about it. And this is everyday life in Australia, and has been for years and years.
Yeah, for a lot of people, a lot of the people in the city wouldn't know too much about the issues, just to pure ignorance.
Right.
But as soon as you get out,
we have that problem here too. Believe me. Do we not, Dusty?
Yeah, no comment on that.
No comment.
I don't want to get involved with that one. I could get ugly.
Right.
It's one of the things that that a lot of times a hunter is misunderstood.
Very much so. Very much so.
We're not out there to slaughter animals and leave them lay. We're out there to put meat in the freezer and feed our families, and that's something.
And help out the environment as well.
Right. That's exactly. I was leading into that. And keep disease controlled. We eliminate the herd in a controlled atmosphere. We got tags here. We're big time into whitetail deer hunting. We're on a tag system. We can only kill so many per county. That's not a very wide area. So, it's not a pure slaughter fest, but we are controlling disease. We're controlling the car accidents. They don't look at the big picture.
Right.
And your system works really, really well. I wish with a lot of deer and stuff like that, I wish Australia took up tags for certain animals, especially opening kangaroo tags up to more people.
Right. Yeah, and by not doing that, and if you don't have the crops in the area, you're taking a big risk on disease spread. There's just a lot of things there. Overpopulation. Next thing you know, you're going to be fighting the kangaroo to live in your residence.
Right.
I mean, seriously, in all seriousness, they could be overpopulated. They're
in some areas we do have overpopulation, especially around the ACT, Australian Capital Territory,
right.
in Canberra. They have huge problems with kangaroos.
You ain't going to outkick a kangaroo. I'll tell you that straight up.
I've seen them walk away from getting hit by a car.
Yeah,
jump away, hop away.
Just put their feet up.
But they do some damage, that's for sure.
Yep.
Especially when some of the kangaroos we see when we're out hunting are when they're up on, like, just standing up straight. Some of them are 6 foot, 7 foot tall.
And that's like a man coming at you.
Yeah, plus their the claw on, they've got some big claws on their feet.
Right.
And that claw will just gut you. If they stand on their back tail and kick you, cut you wide open.
Right.
Yeah. Squeeze the trigger.
So I just want to emphasize that this is population animal control that we're talking about here, because of the feral nature of animals that are no longer raised on a farm type situation. These are animals that have turned wild all over Australia and cause great amounts of damage. But there's so many of them. Taking a few won't matter. It's identical to the hog situation we're dealing with in the United States, and that's what could happen if there were other feral species in the United States that were not controlled, and we're experiencing one right now is getting out of hand.
It's not just the hogs for you guys over there. It's the snakes as well, isn't it? In Florida, is it?
Yeah, Florida's starting to have some issues, and there's a particular variety of fish that's getting overpopulated too.
Yep, there's some types of fish that are not indigenous to the area that are.
Yeah, we have that issue too. With carp is the same as you guys, but we have European carp, not Asian carp.
Yep.
And redfin perch. And a few other species like carp over here,
yep.
where, like, if you catch them, you're not allowed to put them back in the water. You have to kill them.
Yep, we have the Asian carp. We've got the lionfish down in Florida. They're not normal. They eat well. All these things seem to eat well, from what I understand. But they're just they do kind of overpopulate quickly. Snakes, that here and there, but we've historically had a decent control on these things. Sometimes we've had help from the government for, like, poisoning for coyotes and stuff like that. And that's
we have the same thing here with foxes. The government, they use a bait called 1080, and it's very, very bad stuff. Like, the fox will eat it, and whatever eats the fox after it dies,
right,
or whatever else eats the bait will die straight away.
Right, and
it's not a good death. A lot of hunters are up in arms because a lot of the Greens people use 1080 but hate hunting,
right?
Because hunting's inhumane, where they believe the bait is.
That's the problem I have, is that so you'd rather just try to eradicate it with poison instead of let the hunters take care of the problem, not only doing it ethically, but actually practicing a tradition that goes back to the evolution of man. So how can that not be part of our way of life, and should always be sought to be part of our life forevermore? That's my opinion. But it seems like you get the people that are ignorant about the situation. They don't understand that there is a way to use hunting and hunters to control populations without having to intervene with the help of governments through poisoning.
Exactly.
Do you guys have we got what's called PETA here?
Yeah, we have we have PETA groups. We have lots of other.
Do you know the technical term for PETA?
No.
It's people eating tasty animals.
Yes. I have seen that one. I've seen the stickers getting around.
Yes. All right, so let's keep going with the species. All right, so we've you got to talk to me about this feral cat thing.
Yep.
So they're actually like kitty cats running around that are out of control.
Some get bigger than house cats. Some get the size of medium-sized dogs.
Wow.
we have rumors around lots of the states and myths of big cats over here. So panther, cougar-sized cats getting around the bush. There's been reports of hunters that have shot them. There's been reports of hunters that have been attacked by them.
And these are just house cats that have gone crazy.
Yeah, that have escaped or been dumped. That's an issue that we have. A lot of people have a cat, don't get it to sex. The cat has kittens, and then they go dump the kittens out in the bush somewhere. And then these kittens just thrive on native animals.
Yeah.
Like bird populations and lizards and just lots of small native animals that are important for our ecosystem over here.
Right.
Are they edible?
No. I haven't eaten them. I've heard of a lot of Asians that love them.
Right. Yep, I've heard the same thing. It's an Asian delicacy, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah, but I've got friends that shoot them all the time with a bow. Call them on a predator call, and they come in and they shoot them with a bow.
That's crazy.
But yeah, foxes are the same. In places that you find foxes, you'll find feral cats and feral dogs. On the mainland over here, we don't have a lot of full bred dingoes anymore. A lot of them are crossbreed between wild dogs and dingoes.
Oh, is that it? No kidding. That's interesting. So the dingo is kind of...
You can hunt wild dingoes as well.
Okay. So that's there's a dingo, and then there's basically they've been
a crossbreed between
okay,
feral dogs and dingoes.
Gotcha. All right.
And so in areas where there's no full breed dingoes left, a lot of places have like kill on sight policy and stuff like that.
Gotcha. All right, so I want to kind of save some of the best species for last, because this being the Big Buck Registry and the deer hunting podcast, I wanted to talk about some of your deer hunting and get a little more depth about that between your fallow deer and the red deer.
We have 6 species of deer in Australia. Victoria and South Australia are some of the best deer hunting, where you find them in. I'm pretty sure you find deer in every state over here, but you have fallow deer, red deer, hog deer, rooster and sandbar, and chittle.
Chittle. All right. What was the one after the hog deer?
Rooster or there's rooster and sandbar.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the fallow deer hunting for a minute. I want to get into all these species because it's just terms we do not hear every day in the United States. I want to talk about that, how you hunt them and all that kind of stuff. What's your experience with the fallow deer hunts? How do you set up for that?
Some people over here do use tree stands for them. Some people just use the stalking approach and waiting on a spot where they pass through. I've only taken one fallow deer, and that was a young doe, and that was a couple of years back. That was my first significant kill with a bow. So I was quite lucky there. I got given a bow from my dad, and the next day I went and got a deer with it. So I was quite impressed with that.
Gotcha. Very cool. Excellent.
Some of them get quite big, and there's the herds get cut down a lot by rangers and that, but a lot of farms get them through, so you can sit and wait in farms for them to cross through. I've been chasing fallows since the rut and still haven't got a stag yet, which I've been patiently trying to get, but it all takes patience and prepping, and just certain things go wrong each time you go out.
Right.
Whether it be wind or they spot you too early.
I think there's some fallow deer in the United States, correct, Dusty?
Yes.
Yeah, Dusty.
I believe there is that Kendall Jones. I've seen her post
yep.
a photo the other day, and there was I'm pretty sure there was a hog and a fallow deer there.
Okay, gotcha.
A hog deer only grows to 50 to 60 centimeters high, so they're quite a small deer.
A hog deer, you're saying? H-O-G?
Yes.
I've never heard of that. You heard of a hog deer, Dusty?
No, I have not.
All right, I gotta look.
Yeah, they're quite a small deer. I'm just trying. Jim Shockley came over earlier this year and hunted hog deer.
Jim Shockey did. I gotcha. I'm looking at one right now. Yeah, kind of a small animal. Kind of like more or less like a spike type antler. Spreads out a little bit, but not huge. Gotcha. All right, so a hog deer. It's called the Indian hog deer.
In Victoria, you're only if you shoot, you're only allowed two a year, and that's that's the only deer that they have tags for, and that's in Victoria.
Okay.
You're only allowed to shoot one male, one female, and as soon as you shoot one, you have to take it into some environmental place so they can take measurements and do all these different tests, and before you're actually allowed to go take it.
Interesting. Okay.
They're quite a rare deer in Australia.
Okay. And how about the red deer? How does that's your biggest deer, correct? The red deer?
Yes, I believe so. They get quite massive. In some places, they're doing like 16, 17, 18-point deer, sometimes even bigger than that. And they're a bit smaller than probably your elk. Not as big, but
Gotcha.
They get quite big horns on antlers on them.
Yeah, they get some massive antlers. It's I've always been fascinated by the red deer. As actually one of the deer I would love to hunt someday. It's on my.
I see them all the time. I just haven't had the opportunity to hunt them. I've almost hit them in my car.
Right. Gotcha. What's the process to hunt them? Do you have to get a special tag for that, or
there's no tags. You just finding property that you're allowed to hunt on that has them on there. We have game ranches here, like hunting ranches, and you can pay a couple grand to go hunt them. But it's just finding property where farmers have issues with them where you can hunt.
Gotcha. I want to get into the way you find property to hunt in a little bit. Let's finish up this list of deer species. It's Rusa. Is that what it is? Rusa?
Yeah, Rusa and Sandbar.
Rusa and Sandbar. Okay.
They're quite they're very similar deer, and they're the only species in Australia that can crossbreed. They're quite hard to hunt. We've got a place in South Australia that we call the Southeast. It's virtually right on the coast, so it's quite swampy, and that's where you find them, in swampy, really hilly areas. I've been invited to Victoria to go hunt them, but I just haven't had the time or the money yet to go over.
Gotcha. Okay. And the chittle, is that what you
Chittle? They're medium-sized deer. They're quite a pretty animal. They're very, very spotty. They're like a dark brown, reddy coat with bright white spots on them. And that's the males, but I haven't seen them yet.
Gotcha. So it sounds like these are all on your hit list, all these animals at some
Definitely.
point. Yep.
Definitely.
Now you've got a few years with your bow as experience. All right, so let's talk about how do you obtain the rights or the ability to hunt on property? I'm curious to find out if it's similar to our experiences that we have to deal with here in the United States.
Well, here in South Australia, you have a basic hunting permit, and that costs you $20 a year.
Okay.
But then once you get that, and that's just, you don't have to, you just fill out just a form, and then they give it to you, and you just pay $12 a year.
It's like a hunting license that you get here.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
And then you just go around door knocking. So a lot of times it's just, you spend half a day going around knocking on doors and asking them if they have a problem. And then, you just walk around and see what's there and what tracks, and that's around.
Gotcha. And do you have to get written permission, or is it?
Yeah. You have to get written permission. That has to be updated every 6 months.
Okay.
Pretty much it. A lot of hunters I know just have a form that they print out, and that just where the farmer fills out their name and signs it, and then puts a date on it. Gotcha. So every 6 months they just do that. But there's a lot of people out there that don't do that and can't be bothered, and just get mouth-to-mouth permission from the owner and just go see them every time.
Gotcha.
Which
on occasion,
is also fun.
It's acceptable practice to do a verbal?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can get a written, that's kind of like the ultimate, but you can get verbal permission to hunt these properties. And is it usually a farmland that you try and hunt, or are there more slightly urban areas that you try to obtain because you just know those are animals?
It's all farmland pretty much. So we got flat farmland, we got really hilly farmland. So we got lots of orchards in the hills where they grow apples, pears, grapes. Just everything. So they have big issues with deer and goats and that coming off and eating the fruit before it's ripe. And So some people pay shooters to go there. My goat property is an old sawmill. Is a nice old bloke, and he lets me and a couple of my mates hunt there. And we just go there and walk around and give him meat after we've taken something. So quite often I'll cut off a back leg or to give to him before we go.
Right. Awesome. All right. So I think that's pretty much our list, and you got the land situation. One of my questions is more about the almost like a stereotype of the Australians and the way the media portrays them. They portray the Australians as these real tough, rugged individuals. Is that accurate?
For some of us.
For some of you, but others not so much.
Nah, it just depends where you come from, really. A lot of outback towns have your big stereotypical Australians, and then you've got in your cities where it's just your everyday people.
Gotcha. So the media is just doing their job, kind of bolstering up these stereotypes, basically.
Exactly. I remember at school doing some of the classes, and we were going into the media stuff and what they feed people in America about Australians. And one of my teacher's friends, he came over from America, and he was expecting to go 10 minutes outside the city and see big fences around the city with kangaroos attacking people and crocodiles in all the waterways.
Right.
He was a police officer, so he carried a gun. It was before security got all big in that. So he carried a gun over here because he was expecting to see all these wild animals attacking people. And
that's fantastic.
It just shows you what media can do.
Right, exactly. So
we don't ride kangaroos to work or school or anything like that.
Oh, that's a bummer. I was kind of hoping you were still doing that.
I was just going to ask if you was a kangaroo jockey.
Nah.
That's awesome. All right, so Zach, what are your goals here for as a hunter? Is it to take one of each of these species and get to the United States and hunt some U.S. land too?
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to try and tackle everything in Australia and hunt what I can. Try and get everything ticked off and just try different new experiences, and head over to the States and Canada hunting.
Nice.
And maybe, if I can afford it, maybe Africa.
Africa too. Very cool. Those are great goals to have as a hunter. I'm 100% behind you, and if you ever need a place to hang out over here in the U.S., I'm here for you, man. So, just
likewise if you're in Australia.
All right, Dusty, what do you think, man?
Oh, I'd say it sounds very interesting. It's not much different than the States, but it's different critters to hunt.
Exactly, and the fishing's good too. So
cool. All right, Zach, tell me a little bit about Williams and Company bow hunting and fishing. What's that all about?
It's just something I started up just for just to share my hunting experiences and my friends' hunting experiences, and anyone else that wants to post their hunting photos and a bit of a story, and just share what my hunting's like and see what other people's is like.
Gotcha. Now, is where does the name Williams come from?
That's actually my last name. Slattery is my stepdad's last name, and I took that on and did all my schooling with that. So that's why my Facebook page says Slattery, so I can just keep in contact with old school friends, and
gotcha.
So they don't go, who the hell is this?
Gotcha. So it's Zach Shaggy Slattery Williams.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, that's a mouthful. Zach, this has been fantastic, man. And Dusty, I don't know if you have any other questions for Zach.
Yeah, I don't, Zach, but we appreciate your time, and it's amazing what you're doing over there with the hunting, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, it was good chatting to you guys too, and I like telling you guys a bit about Australian hunting, and hopefully I can keep you updated on when I knock a few other species off.
Absolutely. We will gladly repost that on our sites, on Chubby Tines Outdoors and on the Big Buck Registry, and kind of share some of your experiences that's going on over there in Australia. Thanks again, Zach.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right, thanks again.
Catch ya.
Well, Dusty, I don't know about you, but I just learned something.
I learned a lot.
I had no idea. I mean, my head's just kind of spinning here about what occurs in Australia on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, can you believe that they just hunt feral cats like house cats?
House cats.
feral dogs, feral donkeys.
It's camels, horses.
Wow.
The animal population's out of control.
Unbelievable. Really. I mean, literally, it's unbelievable that it's like that. And it's, there's no tags. It's free range. Go hunt.
Go hunt, man. Just go hunt, mate.
Yeah, you can't get enough ammunition in your pocket, it don't sound like.
Right. And it's no disrespect to the animals.
Right.
They're out of control. It's a respectful thing for the animals.
Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it?
It's completely crazy.
Like, I'm ready to go to Australia.
I think it'd be a hell of a time.
Absolutely.
I'm in. If I can find the way to do it.
Yeah, anybody out there listening, we need some sponsorships and some support to get to Australia.
That's right. Jay and Dusty's Big Adventure.
Absolutely. They're going to call us the Goat Men.
The Goat Man. Bah.
Bah.
That would be nuts, man.
It would.
Well, thanks again to Zach Shaggy Slattery from Adelaide, Australia, and letting us peek inside his world about what hunting is like.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers,
for
mate.
Coming on.
From his perspective, that was fantastic.
It was fantastic. I learned a lot there that I had no clue about.
Just a whole different aspect to the hunting on a global basis, not just
it's a whole different world there as far as the hunting. Yeah,
right. You think hunting in Florida is different than hunting in New Hampshire. Try hunting in Australia. You'll see some huge differences about how they have to deal with day-to-day population control.
Crazy.
Oh, man. Well, that was awesome. What you got a Chubby Tines tip of the week this week, Dusty?
I do actually. I have a tip, and this one is going to be from the tree stand. Tip from the tree stand: if you got something coming in behind you, do not look back to see what it is. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get caught trying to see what's coming in behind you. That's a mistake. Do not look behind you when you hear something walking in.
Interesting. Clarify that for me. You're going to get busted if you do?
Exactly. It seems like that the forward movement of the deer, looking in a forward direction, they're naturally going to be able to pick you out, trying to get turned around to look back at them. It's a peripheral vision. They'll see the movement from them moving forward and you moving backwards. It takes quite a bit for your body and head to get turned around. Unless you're double jointed in the neck joint, you got to turn your shoulders to get looking backwards. And 9 out of 10 times you're going to get busted, turn around to look.
Right. Interesting. I never thought about that before. Have you been busted before like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Several times, because it's almost a mental game. As I hunt more and more, I've learned to just sit tight. It's coming your way. It'll be there.
Okay.
Sit tight.
Good one. All right. Sit tight. What's going on at Chubby Tines?
Just everybody's getting amped up. Getting seasons opened in Kentucky and some other states. A lot of seasons open. Wisconsin opened.
I think everything's basically open now.
Yeah, it's getting, unfortunately Ohio don't kick off till the 27th, and it just can't get here fast enough.
Gotcha.
I mean, my hunting to-do list is slimming down, but I'm ready for it to be gone. That's going to be,
let's face it, it's never gone.
Yeah, but come the 27th, it's, tree stand therapy time.
Right.
It's that time of year. Sorry, sweetie, I got to go get some therapy tonight.
It's no longer. It's just on hold. It's never gone. It's just on
hold. Right. I agree to that. But at that point in time, I pretend that it's gone, and I go to tree stand therapy mode. Once I start tree stand therapy, the doctor recommends that you don't miss a therapy.
That's a very good point. Yep.
What's going on? What's going on with Big Buck Registry, Jay?
Well, we got quite a bit going on. We've got some videos going on. A lot of bucks coming in now from the new season, not just the last season. So that's kind of cool. We're still kind of working through some of the old ones. So the new ones will be appearing probably in the next week and a half as they start to fall across the country. And, what I'm really interested in, and I don't know how we really monitor this yet, but I would love to kind of do a rut report, a weekly rut report, say that 10 times fast, and get that posted on the Big Buck Registry, like rut check, and just it'll be the question of the day every Wednesday. Say rut check, what's happening in your neck of the woods right now?
Yeah, that'd be cool for sure. It may It may give the guy that don't get in the woods as often as he needs to recognize the ruts happening.
Right.
The heads up in his state.
Yep.
I like that idea.
I think that's good. Just kind of, check your state and what is it, hot, cold, or medium kind of thing. Just a quick ranking system.
I like that.
Yep. Cool, man. How do we reach out to you?
Facebook.com/Chubby Tines Outdoors, and you can find me at Dusty Huntneck right here at Facebook. Jay, how can they get in touch with you at the Big Buck Registry?
This is a mouthful, as you know.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay. Let's go.
All
Get
right.
it.
Here we go. Facebook.com/Big Buck Registry. Twitter.com/Big Buck Registry. Regular website is bigbuckregistry.com. You can call the show 724-613-2825. Leave us some feedback, leave us a question, leave us some information about somebody else you'd like us to have as a guest on the show. You can review us on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review at www.bigbuckregistry.com/iTunes. Or if you want to go to Stitcher, and if you have an Android device or something other than an iPhone, sometimes it's easier to go to Stitcher, and that's www.bigbuckregistry.com/Stitcher, STITCHER. And if you'd like to participate on our Wall of Fame, the Big Buck Wall of Fame, you can send a picture into www.bigbuckregistry.com/mybuck. And finally, if you'd like to do a share for share, we actually have something set up now for sharing, and it's www.bigbuckregistry.com/S4S. That's a lot of words, Dusty.
I'm telling you, that's a lot of big buck and a big buck and a big buck and a big buck.
Big buck, everywhere, big buck.
Big buck everywhere, a big buck.
So, hey, be safe out there. Good luck to everybody in the woods.
Absolutely.
And we want to see the pictures, so send them in. Let us know what's going on.
Thanks, everybody, for joining in with us on this episode of the Big Buck Registry Big Buck Podcast. And I'm Dusty Phillips.
I'm Jay Scott.
This is the Big Buck Registry
Big Buck Podcast.
We'll see you next week.
Can't wait.